So Royal Tiger Imports recently put on sale some of their Enfields as part of what they were calling a warehouse clearance. They put on No.1 and No.4 Enfields for about $150 each. Now, in this day and age, I'm not a big fan of trying to resurrect junky mill serps anymore, especially just with how expensive parts are and the availability and some of these things just getting harder and harder to find at decent prices. Most of the time, you're not going to get your money's worth. But at $150, I figured, hey, this might be a decent gamble. I don't own a No.4 Enfield. And, you know, the 25% chance that I might get a shooter, hey, that is, you know, going to be worthwhile. And at $150, I'm sure I could get my money back in parts value should I need to go down that road. So I went ahead and ordered one, and here about a week and a half later, it has arrived. Let's take a look at what came in the box. I don't have high hopes for this, obviously. I don't think that I'm going to get a shooter. I would say probably about 25% chance of that happening. But even if that doesn't work out, I still think that it's going to be a worthwhile gamble. At least $150 worth of parts are going to come on this gun. Fingers crossed anyway. So let's take a look and see what they sent. Alright, so here's our rifle, exactly as it came out of the box. Pretty standard for RTIs doing things these days. You got this little triangle insert that prevents the gun from bumping around in the main shipping box, and just a light layer of bubble wrap. So we're going to start cutting through this and see what comes out as we go. Alright, so I've cut through most of the bubble wrap here. Let's take this grungy mess out of this package and see what we got. So, okay, first thing I notice is this terribly poor fitting buttstock. It looks like they put an SMLE stock on this No.4. It is totally loose and rattling. This will be no good. We will not be able to use that. Okay, we have a long branch, which is pretty cool. Dated 1944. Import mark on these is pretty small and nice and neatly done. If there's one thing RTI does pretty well, it's those import marks. The rest of the wood appears, at least on the side of this, to be in pretty good shape. Metal has very little finish left, it looks like, and is quite dirty. So let's take it out here. There's the hang tag. And on the other side, all right. So, nose cap, it looks like it's at least present. Front sight is there. Got the sling swivel as well. Forestock and everything does appear, at least at first glance, to be in pretty good shape, but this buttstock, you can see right there, this is not going to do it. It's totally wiggly, and I bet I could just pull it right out there if I tried really hard. So that's definitely not going to work. Action opens pretty good. So, like I said, the big thing that I liked about this offering was the fact that it has the magazine on there. The rear sight, at least to me, looks to be complete, which is good. But yeah, so there's not a whole lot of finish left on it, and I can't tell from what's left what's just going to be grime and what's not. So we'll take a look at that a little bit more in depth here in just a couple minutes, but I'd like to get the bolt out and take a look down the bore. Alright, I'm not sure how well this is showing up on the camera, but the bore is so totally caked with grime, it's almost plugged. So there's no sign of rifling, but it is so caked with dirt that I won't know until I clean it. So there could be a real diamond in the rough underneath this, but I will not know, at least at this point, until I clean it. The bolt is grimy, but I think is complete. It does cock and everything. The receiver rails, which is the big thing I was worried about with this, are not chipped. So it does run in the receiver track, so at least as far as I'm concerned, that is going to be a good thing. The muzzle, like the bore, is just so dirty, and I'm trying to get it in focus here. It is so dirty, it's impossible to see if this is any good or not. So once I clean it a little bit, I'll do a bullet test and we'll dig in and see. We'll see what kind of bore condition we have, but for now it's going to soak, and probably soak for about 24 hours to try and loosen up all the crud that's in there. Fingers crossed we get a nice diamond in there. Alright, well, I got the rifle down in the shop and I have all the metal parts soaking in WD-40. The next step is going to be to break it down and see exactly what I'm working with. I'm going to post a part 2 when I get to doing that, but for now it's just going to soak for probably 24-ish hours before I have some time to look at this again, sometime tomorrow. So the barrel is just soaking and the bolt is soaking in WD-40, and I have some also on the screws to make sure everything's going to be loose for when I go and do the breakdown. But yeah, so biggest issue I see so far is definitely going to be this buttstock not being correct. Hopefully the bore will find to be salvageable, but at this point we're not going to know that until we get some breakdown. So there will be a part 2 coming with everything cleaned up and put back together, and once I identify what parts this might or might not need to get working, should I decide to resurrect it, depending on what the bore looks like. So stay tuned for that, but otherwise it looks to me like I got my $150 worth out of the gate, at least in parts value alone. Most of these parts do look good and salvageable, but we won't know for sure until we see the bore. So stay tuned.